Live from KSAT 12, the news at noon starts right now.
Well, the Kickapoo Lucky Eagle Casino and Hotel has reopened today, and this comes 6 days after a deadly shooting in the parking lot where 2 people were killed. Our Erica Hernandez is live in Eagle Pass. And Erica, are people stopping by there?
Yeah, Stephanie, so our cameras are not allowed on the property, but we did drive by around 10 a.m. when it opened, and people were already stopping and parking to go into the casino. But like you mentioned, this reopening is coming 6 days after that deadly shooting last Saturday night. 7 people were hit by gunfire in the parking lot. 2 of them, Marcus Antley, a retired U.S. Customs and Border Patrol agent, and Alicia Sanchez, who was visiting from Carrizo Springs, were both killed. Now, we asked residents who lived here about how they felt about the casino reopening and if they felt safe returning.
It's very sad, but the people had to work to pay the bills and everything. Yes, it's scary, but we can live with the scare. So we have to move on.
Do you feel safe going back?
Yes, but something we can happen everywhere. Maybe here or in another restaurant, because nobody's safety in the entire world.
Now, as for the suspect, 34-year-old Kerryon Jones, he remains here in the Maverick County Jail on bonds totaling $4.5 million. Now, this will be a capital murder case. The district attorney here telling the Eagle Pass News leader this week he will be handling this case, and it wouldn't be a federal case because neither the victims nor the shooter were from the Kickapoo tribe. It's unclear whether the DA here will be pursuing the death penalty in this case. Now, when we drove by earlier, that there was police and security visibly, you could see them outside in the parking lot walking around, but for the most part it's back up and running and business as usual. Live in Eagle Pass, Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
All right, Erica, thank you for that live report. Looking out there with live cam, heating up to 83 degrees. The sun is shining, but at least I guess high school football should be a little more pleasant.
Yeah, and part of that, Steph, even though it's warm in the afternoons, we're getting that sun to go down earlier, and it just helps overall with the games starting at 7 o'clock. And I think most of the football games tonight, you'll see temperatures in the 80s, so it won't be bad. Let's go back outside for you. And at the moment, we've now made it up to 86, 88 in New Braunfels, 89 Converse, 82 at Bernie, and Stinson is our warm spot. Now up to 90, so another day spent at 90 plus, and that will also be the case for most of San Antonio, really a large portion of South Texas. Let me show you the big picture here. And a couple things to point out. We've got a couple showers right on the coast, but these have not made any, not made it inland at all. So it does not appear that we're seeing a whole lot of shower activity. Now, as the day wears on, there could be a couple showers that drift towards San Antonio, but the odds of that are very low. The more concentrated rain is out here south of New Orleans. So our forecast today, 90 at 2 o'clock, 92 at 4 p.m. There is a 10% chance of rain, but I wouldn't let it interrupt your plans at all. In fact, you may not even notice it. It'll probably be 1 or 2 showers, mainly east of San Antonio. High temperature up around 92. And coming up, we'll take a look at the weekend forecast and next week to see if there's any changes, maybe any chance of rain in there. We'll talk more about it coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Justin. Well, investigators are working to identify a man whose body was found last night in an abandoned home that caught fire. Well, the fire broke out last night on North Colorado Street, just west of downtown. Firefighters say they arrived to heavy flames at the scene and then later discovered the body of an adult man inside. Right now, it's not clear how he died. The cause of the fire is still under investigation, and the fire chief is urging the city to consider tearing down the house to prevent future dangers. Well, new details in a child abuse case we have been following for weeks now. The victim is 10-year-old Michael Miranda. His adopted parents, Jonathan and Christina Miranda, are facing capital murder charges. Investigators think that Michael was physically abused on a daily basis. That's according to an affidavit. He was kept in a laundry room. The document says that little boy showed signs of starvation and had multiple injuries on his neck and his body. When police found Michael inside his home last week, he was already dead. Now, they arrested his parents this week. Their attorney sent us a statement, though, refuting the claims by San Antonio police. It reads in part, quote, San Antonio Police Department concluded their investigation without considering the child's medical history or statements from witnesses. He went on to say that, quote, everyone who knows the Miranda family is shocked by the arrest of Jonathan and Christina, end quote. Well, a man has been sentenced to 30 years in prison for possessing child pornography. A state task force found that 69-year-old Lynn Wayne Morin had then more than 1,200 illegal images of children on his devices. Many of those kids were under the age of 10. The investigation started after the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children reported that Morin was searching for child pornography online. We are told that Morin was a retired speech therapist who worked with children. Well, a former San Antonio police officer accused of shooting Eric Cantu inside a car back in 2022 is back in court. Attorneys for James Brennan say that they plan to bring up the criminal record of Eric Cantu, who was a team at the time that Brennan shot and injured him. So we have reported on Cantu's run-ins with the law since that incident, including a recent assault charge. However, prosecutors argue his legal troubles are not relevant and should not factor into this case.
This is the state of Texas versus James Brennan. It is not the state of Texas versus Eric Cantu. Those cases are happening outside of this courtroom. The district attorneys,
well, the judge did come up with a compromise. The defense can mention Cantu's criminal record during the trial. They just can't get into the details of his charges. Well, one toy and one little girl and one big adventure across Texas still ahead. A heartfelt story that shows that you've got a friend even among strangers. And what's next for the San Antonio Riverwalk? Well, we talk to the people who know it best to find out what changes they're hoping for. And are you hitting the road this weekend in San Antonio? Well, a big new flyover opening to make your drive a little easier. However, there are also some major road closures to watch out for. That's coming up after the break.
Well, it's going to be a very busy weekend for our drivers across many parts of the city of San Antonio. When it comes to some construction, we have a mix of bad news and some good news. But you know what? Let's start with some good news as we get you set for your weekend driving activity. We're going to have a brand new flyover opening that's going to be taking us from I-10 West over to 1604 East. Basically, you're going to be able to get onto this a little bit past UTSA Boulevard on I-10, and that's going to take you over Tradesman, Van Jackson, and you're going to be able to exit right there at Lock Hill, Selma. This is going to be the fifth flyover to open at that entire interchange, the fifth of 8, as they continue to work there to try and help our drivers get through the far northwest side. But unfortunately, this will coincide with some major closures this weekend. So starting Friday night and extending to Monday 5 a.m. in the morning, we're going to have a major closure. Basically 1604 both directions, east and west, will be closed. I-10 east at the interchange will also be closed. Now, some little bit of good news, I-10 west will be open. So if you need to get to the rim, I-10 west will be a potential option. So again, just be careful because the northwest side, we're going to get that flyover open. Let's go ahead and check out some video of this brand new flyover. This is pictures that was shared to us by TxDOT, and you see it right there. Again, this is going to be extending parts of I-10 going out west towards Bernie and connecting to 1604 East. So this is actually going to be good news, but unfortunately we are going to deal with some of that construction activity over the weekend. All right, let's come back out to the maps here real quick because this is not going to be the only closure that we're going to see throughout the weekend. This one's actually going to start a little bit earlier, Friday 7 p.m. extending to Monday 6 a.m. 410 East from Starcrest all the way to I-35. That will be completely shut down. All the main lanes. You're basically going to have to navigate around Perrin Bidle, also Austin Highway, to make your way to 35 coming off of 410. So again, for anyone that has any activity in the near northeast side, keep this one in mind. This one expected to be in place throughout the rest of the weekend. But we have got you covered. Go to KSAT.com for the very latest when it comes to all of your construction and road activity out there. Be safe, everybody.
Thank you, RJ. Yes, a lot to keep in mind this weekend, but overall, good news, progress, finally, Justin.
Progress. Yeah, it's taken some time, but we love it. We love it, and we appreciate all the hard work. We go outside for you, and right now we've got clear skies. I'm watching some clouds starting to build to the east, and yes, there could be a couple showers today. The aquifer is down 0.3 of a foot to 628 even. That is a horrible number. We know that we continue to be in drought here. And pollen count, well, this is good news for Friday. Everything's low here. Ragweed dropped off significantly down to 90. It's in the low category. Coming up, we'll take a look at the weekend forecast. There are some changes in the long-term forecast. We'll talk about it coming up.
Well, you've got a friend in me. That's a song that one little Wisconsin girl will forever sing after a San Marcos community helped her get her best friend, Woody, back home. Well, the family told our Japhanie Gray that the best thing about this whole ordeal was that this little toy connected hundreds of sweet strangers all through this mission for Woody's safe return home.
Make him talk. Hello. Oh! Girl has been obsessed with Woody since she was 4 months old. No lie.
Woody has been a part of every chapter and every memory in little Gia's life. At just 1 year old, she and her buddy have traveled all over the country, including recently when her family took a trip from Wisconsin to the Lone Star State, stopping in places like California, North and South Dakota, and Arizona. But when they got to Texas, Woody disappeared. Her mom, Shauna Tello, says that they were visiting attraction spots in San Marcos.
Later on that evening, she's trying to go to bed and she's saying, Woody, because she couldn't say the W at the time. She's yelling Woody at me. And I'm like, where's Woody?
The family ripped through everything trying to find little Woody during the last few days of the trip, even going as far as buying Woody's Pixar friend from the Tanger outlets to keep Gia happy.
Got Buzz Lightyear. She's still Woody, Woody, Woody.
The family made it back to Wisconsin, posting on social media, calling news stations, and after hundreds of interactions and shares online, Visit San Marcos came to the rescue.
I bet that was October leaving.
Oh my gosh.
After his solo adventure, Visit San Marcos sent him all the way back to the city of Durand with stickers, souvenirs, and many goodies that showed Gia not only was he safe, but he had a good time in the Central Texas community.
She yelled Woody instead of Woody. We got Woody out of it. That made my day. San Marcos made a little girl's dream come true, her heart not be broken, and my family will forever be in San Marcos's debt.
Japhanie Gray, KSAT 12 News.
So glad they were reunited. Love to see the story of them being together again. And don't you like the pictures of Woody like enjoying his time?
I love it. It really is. It's a great story because we have the doll going back to the rightful owner, but also San Marcos. It gets a shout out as they should. They did a great thing, and they get to promote their city a little bit more.
Yes, and it looks like Woody had a great time in San Marcos.
Yeah, how can you not? How can you not? It's a fun place, so I hear. Anyway, let's take a look at what's going on here across the state of Texas. We got some showers and a few storms out there in the Gulf. And I put on the visible satellite picture, so we're basically looking down from space, right? We can get a good idea of what's going on, and we're starting to see that bank of cumulus clouds here develop right along the coast. Now, these don't contain rain yet, but as it kind of moves inland, it's always possible we could see some of these build up enough to where they could put down a quick shower. Most of the rain, if we're seeing any, is down in the Gulf, and then you got an area of low pressure here south of New Orleans. But we're just kind of on the wrong side of it. The west side of these things tends to be the drier side. You see the orange color here across Texas, and that's pretty stable air. The better lift is over here across parts of Alabama and parts of Florida and Georgia. So again, we have a very small chance of rain today, but as far as any sort of significant rainfall, not looking great. And you look at rain for the year, we're at 25.09. The average is 24.88, and we are on the verge of going below average. I mean, we're just a quarter of an inch away. And that's a real shame because we started off the year pretty well and we had a surplus, and now we've almost erased that surplus. And I should point out Del Rio too. This is a pretty incredible number, 4.79 inches for the year. That's it. So they're still below 5 inches and nearly a foot below average. So that is really rough out in Del Rio. It's been an interesting year where some places are still very much in drought, and then you have parts of the hill country who completely came out of the drought with some very heavy rain. So we're kind of split across the area in that sense. Temperatures right now, 86 at the airport, 85 Helotes, 87 Rio Medina, 87 in Bandera, 89 in Gonzales. So things are warming up. We're going to see some 90s on this map very soon. And high temperatures today should be somewhere around 92, 93 here in San Antonio. You're going to see a lot of 90s this afternoon. Thankfully, humidity is a little elevated, but it's not to the point where you start to really feel it and it feels super sticky outside. The other thing I want to look in on is the air quality. And yesterday we saw the air quality go down a little bit with regards to ozone. We saw that orange color pop up on here, and that's what we would look out for. And that's where you start to get into the unhealthy for those with respiratory issues. If you get that kind of air quality. So far, we haven't seen that today, and we're getting into that zone where if we're going to see it, we would see it here soon. So the air quality forecast is calling for unhealthy for some this afternoon. So it's another ozone action day, but it is looking, though, as though the air quality will be better tomorrow and Sunday. All right, long-term forecast here. We have that area of low pressure, but again, we're on the wrong side of things. That kind of fades away. High pressure builds in as we get into the middle part of next week. There could be a little bit of Pacific moisture that comes in from this hurricane. It kind of rounds the high. That could bring us a few showers, maybe Wednesday, Thursday, but even then, we're still talking 10% chance of rain, so it's not good. And the temperatures will be very steady. Low 90s this weekend, low 90s next week, and partly cloudy skies. Overnight lows will stay right there around 70 degrees. Steph.
All right, we like the 70s. Thank you, Justin.
Yep.
Well, Election Day again happening next month, but do you know what you can't wear at the polls this year? Well, still ahead, we're going to tell you about new rules affecting Spurs and rodeo fans. And could the San Antonio Riverwalk be getting a major makeover? What locals, tourists, and business owners want to see next. Well, a possible upgrade is coming to the San Antonio Riverwalk, and the city is exploring a plan to bring more businesses and attractions to the area. So our Sarah Acosta spoke with locals, tourists, and business owners to find out what they want to see change.
Parking is a big issue.
First, parking. If you can get it, it's way too expensive.
Yeah, the construction's really bad. And the parking. There's no parking.
Parking, construction, and again, more parking. It's what we heard over and over again from business owners, locals, and tourists on how to improve the Riverwalk and attract more people. It's the kind of input that the city is looking for as they create the strategic Riverwalk master plan. Over the next year, the goal is to get more tourists, locals, and attractions to the Riverwalk.
Our numbers are all down, and we have to get back to the basics. And the basics is putting heads in beds.
William Grinnan is the general manager of the Republic of Texas restaurant on the Riverwalk. He says tourists should be the #1 priority. That's where he says they get 90% of their business from. Several things are being considered, like improving parking, making it more comfortable in summer months with added shade or misters, and finding a way to attract more businesses.
There's been some requests by business owners to look at the ability to have like amplified music or live music on patios, looking at technology that might be available for menu boards, for example.
Bill Lyons owns Casa Rio on the Riverwalk. He says one of his concerns is addressing the mental health crisis.
I think the homeless is definitely an issue on the Riverwalk. And the bike patrol and the park police are trying to deal with it.
Not just to attract more tourists, but locals coming down here on a regular basis. Is that something that you've heard from business owners?
A lot of times when residents have guests, they bring them to the Riverwalk to show it off, but they may not come as regularly as we would like for them to. And those are the kind of questions we want to get to the bottom of.
Kathy Kennedy lives downtown. She says it's the prices keeping locals away.
It's $20 for an hour sometimes. I mean, that average income is what, 65 to 75,000 in San Antonio? Not six figures.
Sarah Acosta, KSAT 12 News.
Well, if you have a proposal for Riverwalk improvements, the deadline to submit it to the city would be Thursday, October 9th. Well, election season is about a month away now, and an important thing to remember this time is what you can and cannot wear at the polling stations. So this year, Bexar County voters will decide on Proposition A and Proposition B, which you can learn more about by scanning a QR code that would be on the bottom of the screen or go to KSAT.com. But in short, Proposition A involves the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo, and Proposition B involves the San Antonio Spurs. So this year, voters cannot wear Spurs gear or rodeo gear inside of polling locations within 100 feet of the entrance. So the Bexar County Elections Administrator tells us that if someone does enter a voting location with banned clothing or other gear, they will be asked to change or turn their shirt inside out. And a reminder that the last day to register to vote and get your address changed is Monday, October 6th, and then early voting will begin on October 20th to October 31st, Halloween, before Election Day on November 4th. And remember the heartbreaking story of the 60-plus abandoned pets in Schertz? Well, now most of them have found loving homes. Stay with us to hear the full happy ending. And the controversy is heating up over a big development in northwest Bexar County. After the break, what city leaders are saying about Guajolote Ranch. Well, the spotlight continues to grow on a controversial development in northwest Bexar County. It's called Guajolote Ranch, and now more city leaders are getting involved. And our Sarah Costa with the latest concerns that city council members are raising about it.
We have done several stories on this proposed development that would go into the northwest side of Bexar County that would require a wastewater treatment facility. And that's the issue that residents, researchers, state lawmakers, and now city leaders are questioning. Critics think that it could pollute drinking water for 2.5 million people, so they want local leaders to stop the project. And earlier this week, 2 council members of District 8 and 7 went to tour the area earlier and spoke with concerned residents.
So right now, me and my team have been working on getting the facts straight, working with this alliance, working with the city, and working with the developer to figure out what are the truths here, because if it impacts our water, then yeah, I'm going to be concerned about it.
And after that tour, both councilwomen Marina Alderete Gavito and Ivelisse Mesa Gonzalez asked the council yesterday to do an in-depth report on the proposed development and its impacts to the Edwards Aquifer, where San Antonio gets 15% of its drinking water. It's important to note the developer, Lennar, says they have plans in place to prevent pollution of the aquifer and San Antonio's drinking water. For now, it's up to the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality. The ball is in their court. They will soon make a decision on whether or not to allow the developer to build this wastewater treatment plant. Coming up at 6 p.m. tonight, we sit down and talk to one of the council members about why they think it's important to take this pause and really look into this issue. I'm Sarah Costa, KSAT 12 News.
All right, thanks, Sarah. And there is somewhat of a happy ending to a story that we brought you back in July about animals being abandoned at a home in Schertz. Now, as we told you back then, animal control workers seized more than 60 cats and dogs from that property on a street called Hillbrook Drive near West Schaefer Road. They say the pets were left behind after their owners moved away. Now, police ended up arresting 61-year-old Maria Maximiana Solis and 56-year-old Ricardo Guajardo in connection with that. So now police tell us that most of those animals have been placed in new homes. In fact, at the News at 5, we're going to introduce you to one of those dogs who's now living her best life. Well, a lawsuit filed by the family of a local man killed in a pit bull attack has been thrown out now. A federal judge dismissed that suit filed against the city of San Antonio and the city attorney, and it has to do with the death of Ramon Najera. So back in 2023, the then 81-year-old and his wife were attacked by pit bulls on the city's west side. Ramon Najera was killed and his family sued. They blamed Animal Care Services for returning the same dogs to their owners, even though the animals had attacked in the past. The judge decided the case did not prove constitutional or discrimination claims or the city policy to the attack. So the owners of those dogs have already been sentenced. Going back out there with live cam, okay, warming up even more to 86 degrees. And I guess for the most part, an okay weekend, just hot afternoons, Justin.
Yeah, we're just sticking with the same forecast. It's a rinse and repeat type thing. But you see out there, we've got a couple clouds starting to pop up, and we'll see a few more clouds by the afternoon. In fact, you'll see clouds increasing here for the next couple of hours. It is an ozone action day. We mentioned that earlier. I'll mention it one more time here that we could see some increased elevated ozone this afternoon, at least for a few hours. Those with respiratory illnesses, this is one of those days where you just got to be careful because it can cause some breathing issues. So far, the air quality has been okay. If that changes, we will, of course, let you know. High temperatures today, 92 in San Antonio, 91 Hondo, 93 Sabinal, 89 in Lakey, 91 in Nixon. You get the idea. It's a very consistent, very uniform number here across the areas. Temperatures will be warm no matter where you go, and that includes for Friday Night Football. Steel takes on East Central, one of several good games tonight, but this one I think is a highlight. 89 at kickoff. Of course, the sun goes down right after kickoff, so you'll see temperatures come down. 83 at halftime, 79 for the drive home. That's at Hornet Stadium there on the east side of Bexar County. Good luck to both teams. And coming up, we'll take a look at some of the Saturday games too, see what the forecast looks like for those here in just a couple minutes. Steph.
Thank you, Justin. Well, Sean Diddy Combs is set to be sentenced after his federal conviction on 2 prostitution-related charges, and the hip-hop mogul has been held in a federal detention center in Brooklyn since his arrest last September. He faces up to 10 years in prison for each count of transporting people to engage in prostitution. The U.S. Probation Department recommends a sentence between 5 and 7 years. Combs was found guilty of transporting 2 former girlfriends to drug-fueled parties where they had sex with paid male escorts. A jury cleared him of racketeering, conspiracy, and sex trafficking charges, which meant he avoided a potential life sentence. Well, it is day 3 of the government shutdown, and lawmakers still can't agree on a spending plan. So today, the Senate is voting on the same GOP funding bill that already failed 3 times. Senate Majority Leader John Thune says if the bill fails again, he will push for another vote on Monday. Democratic leaders say their primary goal is to stop health care premiums from going up for people on Obamacare. Now, the White House says that President Donald Trump may start firing thousands of federal workers during this shutdown, possibly as soon as this weekend. Well, meantime, looking at local politics, San Antonio police officers ordered to guard Mayor Gina Ortiz Jones while she is at home. This is an unprecedented level of protection for a San Antonio mayor that we first reported on the news at 6. Now, records obtained by KSAT Investigates show that this summer, SAPD began having an officer outside the mayor's door after hours, while a second officer was assigned to patrol around her property. The protection plan put in place after the August arrest of Marcos Olvera. The 24-year-old was charged with felony retaliation after investigators said that he wrote, quote, "We need to kill the mayor," end quote, on X. This was under a post about Project Marvel.
It's a shame that sports, which is supposed to be this unifying factor, even if people disagree, brings that out of people.
Well, multiple San Antonio police sources tell KSAT that shortly after Jones was elected to office, she requested and received a bulletproof vest. And nearly a month ago, KSAT Investigates asked the city how much the overnight security costs and where the officers would otherwise be posted. City leaders had delayed the release of records 2 times. Well, a new generic version of the abortion pill just got FDA approval, but it's sparking some debate. We're going to break down what this means and why experts say it's safe. Plus, this week on Pickup Lines, a story of resilience, faith, and determination, how a young mother turned barriers into breakthroughs and became one of the city's leading voices in education. And don't rely on makeup alone to protect your skin from the sun. After the break, how to layer sunscreen and makeup for the best protection and a flawless finish. Well, cosmetics with added SPF may seem like a convenient shortcut in your beauty routine. However, the American Academy of Dermatology does not recommend relying on them to protect your skin from sun damage. With more, here's ABC News' Melissa Don.
Some moisturizers and makeup foundations do contain SPF, which helps block harmful sun rays. But the American Academy of Dermatology says if you're spending time outdoors, you need a separate broad spectrum sunscreen with an SPF of 30 or higher to ensure your skin is fully protected. It's not that makeup with SPF doesn't work. It's just that you'd need to slather on generous amounts to get adequate coverage, way more than would easily blend into your skin. Instead, apply sunscreen first, give it a few minutes to absorb, then apply your makeup on top. Layering up is the way to go for your skin's health and for your best look. With this Medical Minute, I'm Melissa Don.
Well, the FDA has approved a new generic version of the abortion pill mifepristone. This means 3 U.S. companies can now make the pill. So mifepristone was first approved 25 years ago, and the FDA already okayed another generic back in 2019. Some critics have strongly opposed the latest approval. However, health officials say the FDA must approve generics that meet legal requirements. Medical experts point to decades of studies showing mifepristone is safe, with serious problems being very rare. We are looking forward to a nice weekend, and I know you were looking at some of the games going on. It looks like, for the most part, all of these football teams will experience nice weather.
Pretty good weather. The one game would be Texas at Florida. We'll show you that forecast coming up. Very quickly, I did want to show you a TransGuide here. This is 35 coming through downtown. Of course, there's construction on 35. This is the westbound lanes. And, of course, once you make that turn, that's where some of the construction is, but it's really backing things up. So just know that if you're coming through downtown, it's going to be slow going. Very quickly, the almanac for today, 86 is the high so far. That is the average. We're going to be above average. The record is 98. Thankfully, that is not going to be achieved today. That was set back in 1979. Your weekend forecast and a look at those game forecasts coming up.
Well, this week on Pickup Lines, a candid conversation with Dr. Lorraine Bolillo. She is the current Director of Communications at San Antonio ISD and briefly worked here at KSAT back in the day. So Lorraine grew up, and she says, the barrio in East Los Angeles, and was not thrilled when her parents moved to the south side of San Antonio when she was in middle school. She attended Harlandale High School, where she took honors classes and was very involved until she became pregnant during her junior year. Despite that, Lorraine never gave up on herself.
So I had my daughter the first week of my senior year in high school.
Okay.
And I didn't want to miss any classes because I had dual college credit classes. I had AP honors classes, and I didn't want to miss school. So luckily, I had my daughter on a Saturday, and then I stayed in the hospital Sunday, and then Monday was a holiday. Labor Day holiday. So I went back to school on Tuesday.
You're kidding me.
I went back to school on Tuesday.
Lorraine.
And after first or second class, the teacher says, wait, what are you doing here? Didn't you just have a baby? Like, I heard you had a baby. I'm like, yes, I had my baby. Well, you can't be here. You need to rest. I said, but I can't. I have all these classes. I have all this homework. No, Lorraine, I'm sorry. You need a doctor's note to come back. So I went to the doctor. The doctor said you have to rest at least 2 days. So I went back, and I was so frustrated because I had perfect attendance all the way up until senior year, and I could have kept it if they hadn't sent me home to get a little bit of rest.
Oh my goodness, Lorraine. Thank you for sharing your story with us. And of course, she went on to attend 2 Ivy League colleges and eventually returned home to Our Lady of Lake University to get her doctorate in 2010. Now, she has since taught at the collegiate level and has held several high-profile PR jobs around the city. The latest episode of Pickup Lines premieres at 5:30 p.m. and a replay this evening at 7:30 on the free KSAT Plus app, or you can also watch it now on KSAT.com. You just search Pickup Lines. And yeah, I've known Lorraine for years working in the business, and she's very helpful. Like, she was with City, the VIA, and now San Antonio ISD.
She's done it all. Yeah, if you're in media in San Antonio, you know Lorraine in one way or another. Yeah, so great stuff. We'll have to check it out. I love the Pickup Lines. It's always good to hear these conversations. Okay, I want to take you out to the Atlantic, Steph. We've got some activity brewing here, and this is a wave that we've been watching the last couple of days. Now, it's still sort of gathering itself. It's coming off the coast of Africa here, but there's about a 40% chance of development with this wave, according to the Hurricane Center. And you can see they've kind of readjusted the area where they think there could be some development. And notice that it's a little further south than the last several storms. If you remember, we've had all these storms that have curved up north into the Atlantic. This one stays on more of a westerly route, which piques my interest a little bit more, because if this gets in the Caribbean, then, you know, it runs into some warm water, and there's various outcomes here, but it's still very, very early on. It does bear some watching, and we certainly will do that. But we know things are heating up here. There's another little area around Florida, too, 10% chance here. I really don't think that's much of anything. But as you get out into the Pacific, we've got 3 systems here. One with a 20% chance of development. One that likely becomes Priscilla. There's a 90% chance. It's almost a given. It's just going to get a name. And Octave in the far Pacific there, also strengthening a little bit. So a lot to look at. I think Priscilla, interestingly enough, may throw a little bit of moisture in our direction. But in the Atlantic, by the way, if it gets a name, that system that's coming off the coast of Africa, if it gets a name, it would be Jerry, if you were curious, Karen, and then Lorenzo. We'll see how this all unfolds, but there will be plenty to watch there in the tropics over the next couple of days. All right, Authority Radar. We can detect a few showers here now starting to develop, and we thought that we might see that as some of this moisture kind of scoots east. Now, a lot of this is well east of San Antonio, and I don't know how close any of these showers will really get, but we'll leave in a 10% chance rain just to account for any shower that does pop up. The cloud cover has been advancing west slowly but surely, and you see the the cumulus clouds here. We're starting to get some development even around San Antonio. So know that it'll become partly cloudy here over the next couple of hours. Any sort of significant rainfall is way off to our east around New Orleans, where we've got showers and storms this afternoon around an area of low pressure. That just stays too far east of us to really give us any good chances here. So all we can give you is a 10% chance. 91 at 3 o'clock. We'll make our way up to 92 for a high. And then if you have evening plans, 89 at 7 o'clock, 86 at 8 p.m. And just, again, a stray shower or two. Most of that, if we see anything at all, would die down by 8 o'clock or so. Then we'll go mostly clear tonight, dipping into the 70s by 11 p.m. All right, let's talk about some of the games on Saturday. The Roadrunners go to Philadelphia. Great weather there. Sunny skies as they take on Temple. They'll be the favorite team. UT goes to Gainesville. That's going to be a tough game. 40% chance of rain. That's where weather could influence the game a little bit. Temperatures in the 80s here in Florida. Texas Tech goes to Houston. Sunny skies there. Temperatures in the 80s. That'll be a good one. And Mississippi State visits College Station tomorrow at 6:30. Sunny skies for that one. Clear conditions and temperatures in the 80s as well. All right, extended forecast. 91 Saturday, 92 Sunday. A quiet weekend but warm. And we'll see warm conditions continuing into next week with just a couple small rain chances there Wednesday and Thursday. Steph.
All right, Justin, good weather for the games, except maybe that rain in Florida.
Yes, ought to be a good game, though.
All right, thank you, Justin. Well, looking for a fun family shopping spot? Well, we're going to tell you about a new Japanese market that just opened today, and they already have specials all weekend. And October is here. That means spooky season is in full swing, and stay with us to discover some fun, free events happening around town this month. Well, we are in October for sure, and as we enter spooky season, there's plenty to do around town, including some free events. So today, you can enjoy a party on the plaza at the Tower of the Americas. This is happening from 7 to 11 p.m., and you can enjoy some live music and a lot more over there. So today is also First Friday Flicks at the Rocket La Cantera, and there will be a free movie screening of The Lorax starting at 7 p.m. And how about another free movie? So tomorrow at the Mission Marquee Plaza, you can watch The Wild Robot. This is from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. And sticking with Mission Marquee Plaza, there's also a farmers market happening there tomorrow. So the Farmers and Artisans Market will be happening from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And if you're looking for something a bit more spooky, Zubu is back at the zoo. So all the zoo guests will be able to enjoy free trick-or-treating, live entertainment, interactive animal encounters, and fall-flavored food and drinks. So Zubu is included with your standard zoo admission. No extra ticket or fees are required here. The spooky festivities will last until the end of the month. And that just covers events happening over the next few days. We actually have a list of events happening all month long. That's in the Halloween section of KSAT.com right now. We also have a roundup of haunted houses, plus where you can catch interactive Rocky Horror Picture Show screenings this month. Well, welcome back. If you and the family are looking for something to do that includes shopping, a new store just opened on the northwest side to fill your blind box of Japanese skincare, snacks, and home good needs. So it's called Tesso Life, a Japanese market store near I-10 in De Zavala. It started today, and this weekend they are having grand opening specials. Store hours are Monday through Sunday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. And this morning they already had a line out there. So people eagerly waiting to get inside and shop while supplies last. They are giving out gifts with any purchase. That's located at 12,720 Frontage Road. So if you haven't checked it out, you still have a lot of time. Well, of course, Taylor Swift released her newest album, Showgirl Era, streaming on all major platforms, and fans can also get it on vinyl, CD, and even cassette. This is Taylor Swift's 12th original studio album and her first since she took ownership of her entire music catalog.
All right, one last look at the forecast. We'll have temperatures in the low 90s this week, and we're still watching for a shower or two today. Literally a shower or two. That's about all that's going to be on the radar. 92 Sunday, we'll get to low 90s Monday and Tuesday, and Wednesday and Thursday, some more very small chances of rain. And I wish I had known that today was like the big Taylor Swift day. I woke up not knowing this, and I felt very out of touch with the newsroom because there was a lot of clamoring.
Yes.
About what?
A lot of planning.
I keep forgetting what the name of the album is. Forgive me.
The Life of a Showgirl.
That's it. Yes.
Yes.
I have heard some of the tracks on the radio.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not bad.
Yeah.
It's catchy.
It is. I like all the parties
typical
going
Taylor
around.
Swift.
Yeah. A lot of people celebrating today and all weekend, so at least the weather will work out for that.
True.
All right. Have a good weekend, guys. See you later.